Breaking Dawn. The Twilight Saga #4 by Stephenie Meyer. The engagement. The twilight bathed the river in a soft glow as Bella stood, her heart fluttering amidst the delicate dance of butterflies among the white flowers. Ancient cedars loomed above, their branches stretching like blessings over the union about to unfold beneath them. The air was heavy with the fragrance of 1,000 blooms, and the gentle murmur of guests melded with the rustling leaves, creating a melody of anticipation. Bella's eyes met Edward's, his gaze reflecting the fading light and a promise of forever. As they exchanged vows, the world paused, and for a fleeting moment, everything was perfect. But the arrival of Jacob disrupted the harmony. His face was a canvas of emotions, and his reaction to Bella's decision to remain human for their honeymoon cast a shadow over the celebration. Jacob's love for Bella and his resentment toward her choice to be with Edward, a vampire, tore him apart. He saw her decision as a betrayal, choosing a fate he believed was worse than death. His eyes pleaded with her, his heart torn between his love for her and his fear for her mortality. The reception was a whirlwind of joy and celebration. Colorful decorations adorned the venue and cheerful music filled the air. Delicious aromas wafted from the tables, drawing guests toward an abundance of food. Laughter and happy voices created a symphony of warmth and love. Yet, amidst the revelry, Bella couldn't shake the unease that clung to her. The dream she had the night before lingered in her mind, a stark contrast to the vibrant scene before her. In her dream, a beautiful child with light brown curls stood alone on a hillock, his eyes closed as if to shut out the horror surrounding him. As the child trembled with fear, Bella approached, only to realize the hillock was a pile of lifeless bodies, her parents and friends among them. The child's eyes opened, revealing bright blood-red irises, a haunting vision that sent shivers down her spine. Charlie, ever the protective father, pulled Bella aside. "Bells, are you sure about this?" His voice was laced with concern, his eyes searching for any trace of doubt in hers. "It's just, this is a big step, and I want to make sure you're doing what's best for you." Bella smiled, her love for Edward giving her strength. "Yes, Dad. I've never been more certain of anything. Edward and I, we complete each other." Her voice was steady, even as her heart fluttered with nerves and excitement. Renee, a free spirit, twirled around them, her laughter infectious. "Oh, Bella, your honeymoon is going to be magical. Alice and I have planned something extraordinary." Edward, ever the enigmatic presence, remained tight-lipped about their destination, a secret smile playing on his lips. Bella's curiosity grew, but her trust in Edward was unwavering, even as the unknown loomed like a mysterious adventure. As the night drew to a close, Seth Clearwater's presence lingered. His attendance was a reminder of the fragile peace between their worlds, bound by a delicate treaty. The treaty, a carefully crafted agreement, ensured a tentative harmony between the vampires and the Quiute tribe, of which Seth was a member. Any breach could unravel the fragile balance, and Seth's presence served as a silent guardian of that peace. Bella leaned into Edward, her future husband, her protector, her love. Together they faced the gathering, their hands clasped, ready to embark on the unknown journey ahead. The engagement was a promise, a moment frozen in time, but their path was filled with shadows and light. They would face it together, united as one. The wedding day. Bella woke up on her wedding day filled with a mix of emotions. Excitement, nervousness, and joy battled within her as she anticipated the moment she would become Mrs. Edward Cullen. She took a moment to collect herself, feeling grateful for the love and support of her family and friends. As she made her way through the preparations, Bella noticed the intricate details that had been carefully planned and executed. The wedding venue was transformed into an elegant and enchanting space, with twinkle lights and white satin bows adorning the surroundings. The scent of orange blossoms, lilacs, and freesia filled the air, creating a magical atmosphere. Wow, Alice has truly outdone herself, Bella thought, feeling overwhelmed by the beauty and attention to detail. Her mother, Renee, arrived, and Bella felt a surge of happiness and sentimentality. They shared a special moment as Renee helped her into her wedding dress, a stunning creation that made Bella feel like a princess. "You look absolutely breathtaking, honey," Renee said, her eyes shining with pride and love. "Your father and I are so happy for you." Bella's father, Charlie, also played a special role in the wedding. He walked her down the aisle, his face beaming with pride and emotion. Bella felt a rush of gratitude for her parents' unwavering support. As the ceremony began, Bella's heart raced. She stood at the altar, feeling the weight of the moment as she prepared to exchange vows with Edward. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "I do," and Edward's strong, clear voice rang out in response. "I, Edward Cullen, take you, Isabella Swan, to be my wife," he vowed, his eyes filled with love and devotion. "I promise to love and protect you for all eternity." Mr. Weber, the officiant, then declared them husband and wife, and Edward gently cradled Bella's face, kissing her tenderly. The guests erupted in applause and cheers, filling the air with joy and celebration. The transition to the reception was marked by the soft melody of a string quartet, guiding the guests through a path lined with flickering candles and delicate rose petals. The twilight sky provided the perfect backdrop as the sun set behind the trees, casting a golden glow over the newlyweds. Bella and Edward shared their first dance as husband and wife, moving gracefully across the dance floor set up on the grass under ancient cedars. White flowers and fragrant blooms added to the romantic ambiance, while the taste of sweet champagne and the rich flavor of the wedding cake delighted the senses. As Bella was passed through the crowd, she received embraces from friends and family, each offering their congratulations and well wishes. One embrace stood out in particular, that of Seth Clearwater, a werewolf friend symbolizing the unity of their once warring worlds. "Congratulations, Bella," Seth said, his eyes shining with happiness for his friend. "I'm so glad to see you so happy." Later, Edward was briefly called away by his brothers Emmett and Jasper for a traditional bachelor party. Bella watched them go, a playful smile on her face. "Don't get into too much trouble without me," she teased, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Edward leaned in and whispered in her ear, "Don't worry, my love. The only trouble I'm interested in is you." As the reception drew to a close, Bella and Edward shared a private moment, taking in the beauty of the night and the joy of their union. "I love you, Mrs. Cullen," Edward murmured, his eyes glowing with affection. "Today has been more perfect than I could have ever imagined." Bella smiled up at him, her heart overflowing with love and gratitude. "I love you too, Edward. This has been the happiest day of my life." Just as they were about to depart, Jacob Black appeared at the wedding, his presence unexpected and unwelcome. Bella's heart sank as she saw the anger and hurt in his eyes. "What are you doing here, Jacob?" Edward asked, his voice firm but controlled. "I had to come," Jacob replied, his voice trembling. "I had to see for myself that you're really going through with this." Bella felt a pang of guilt and sadness, knowing that her decision to marry Edward had caused Jacob so much pain. She took a step forward, hoping to diffuse the tension. But Jacob cut her off, his anger boiling over. "You're still human, Bella. You're still mortal. What if something happens to you on your honeymoon?" Edward stepped forward, his eyes flashing with warning. "That's enough, Jacob. You said your piece. It's time for you to leave." But Jacob refused to back down. "No, I won't leave until you promise me that you'll take care of her, that you'll keep her safe." Edward's voice was resolute, his stance protective as he faced Jacob. "I have given you my word, Jacob. Now respect Bella's choice and leave us in peace." With a heavy heart, Jacob turned and disappeared into the night, leaving a silence that hung heavily in the air. Bella, reassured by Edward's promise, leaned into his embrace, allowing the love and support of her new husband to soothe the turmoil within her. Together, they turned towards their future, the night's events a mere shadow against the bright promise of their shared destiny. Honeymoon bliss and tension. The tropical sun dipped below the horizon as Bella and Edward stood on the sandy shores of Isle Esme, their private paradise. The day had been filled with laughter and love, a perfect start to their honeymoon. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Bella's heart fluttered with a mixture of emotions. "Edward, do you ever feel like we're too different?" Bella asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Edward turned to her, his topaz eyes searching hers. "Our love transcends any differences, Bella. You know that." Bella nodded, but the fluttering in her heart wasn't just from nerves. It was something else, something new and unexpected. That night, as they surrendered to their passion, the world outside their bubble ceased to exist. In the following days, Bella's joy was overshadowed by a growing discomfort. Her body was changing, reacting in ways she couldn't understand. Edward watched her with a mix of adoration and concern. "Bella, love, you're not well," Edward said, his voice laced with worry as he noticed the pallor of her skin and the dark circles under her eyes. "I'm fine, Edward, just a little tired, that's all," Bella replied, trying to smile. But the effort was too much. As Bella's condition worsened, Edward's protectiveness became more pronounced. He was always there, supporting her, his cool hands a constant comfort. Yet with each day, the reality of their situation became more pressing, casting a shadow over their happiness. One evening, as Bella lay curled up on the couch, a realization hit her like a bolt of lightning. "Edward, I think I'm pregnant." There was a moment of silence, a breathless pause in the world, before Edward responded. Edward froze, his face a mask of shock and fear. "But how? We thought it was impossible." "I don't know, but I can feel it. Something's happening inside me," Bella said, her hand instinctively resting on her abdomen. The news of Bella's pregnancy sent ripples through their world. Edward's guilt transformed into a fierce determination to keep Bella safe no matter the cost. And as Bella's belly grew at an alarming rate, so did her resolve to see this through, for the tiny life that was part of both of them. Edward's usually composed demeanor was now marked by a storm of emotions. "We'll do whatever it takes," he promised, his voice firm yet filled with an undercurrent of fear. Days turned into weeks, and the island paradise became a place of worry. Bella's once vibrant eyes now held a weariness that seemed too heavy for her young age. Edward, desperate to ease her burden, whispered words of love and encouragement, hoping to dispel the fears and uncertainties that haunted her. "Stay with me, Bella," Edward pleaded as he watched her struggle to sit up, her body frail and her spirit flickering. I will," she breathed out, her determination shining through despite her physical weakness. "For our baby, for us." Their love, a beacon in the storm, held strong even as the waves of uncertainty crashed around them. And in the midst of it all, the life within Bella continued to grow, a testament to the power of their bond and the new life they had created together. Bella and Edward's honeymoon, a time meant for bliss, was now interwoven with tension, but their love remained unyielding, a force that not even the most harrowing of tensions could tear apart. The unexpected pregnancy. Bella's reflection in the mirror revealed the undeniable truth of her condition. Edward, with a plate of food in hand, implored her to eat. "You need to take care of yourself," he insisted, his voice laced with concern. Bella's health had begun to falter, marked by a series of symptoms that escalated quickly. She experienced a relentless nausea that first struck after an unfortunate meal, and sharp pains in her abdomen became a frequent torment. Emotional turmoil accompanied her physical ailments, with tears and fears becoming her constant companions. Despite her fatigue, she found little rest, haunted by bizarre dreams that left her more exhausted with each passing night. Edward's complexion turned ashen as they faced the reality of their situation. "We need Carlyle," he declared, the urgency clear in his tone. Carlyle's diagnosis was grim, yet his solution was one of necessity. "It's the only way," he assured them, proposing a remedy as ancient as his kind. With a resolve born of desperation, Bella agreed, ready to do whatever it took for the life she carried within her. Edward's gaze met hers, a silent vow that they would endure this trial together. The path ahead was fraught with uncertainty, but Bella was steadfast, prepared to navigate the perils that lay before her and her child. Turmoil and conflict. Jacob's internal conflict was intensifying. Torn between his loyalty to his pack and his complex feelings for Bella, he found himself at a crossroads. Edward, meanwhile, was unwavering in his commitment to Bella, his actions driven by a love that transcended the turmoil surrounding them. The tension between Jacob and Edward remained, a silent standoff with much left unsaid. As the stakes grew higher, the lines between friend and foe blurred, leaving Jacob to grapple with a decision that could alter the course of their lives forever. The air was thick with tension, each moment stretching endlessly as the future hung in the balance. Edward, ever the protector, was a silent sentinel for Bella, his presence a constant reminder of the love that bound him to her. Jacob, caught in the eye of the storm, faced the hardest decision of his life. With every second that passed, the lines of loyalty and love were tested, pushing him to the brink of a choice that promised to change everything. The quiet before the storm was almost deafening, and in the stillness, the gravity of their situation settled around them like a heavy cloak, waiting for the inevitable to unfold. "What?" A new life begins. Bella's eyes fluttered open and she was met with an unfamiliar ceiling. She tried to sit up, but a wave of dizziness washed over her. Edward's anxious face appeared above hers, his eyes scanning her face with concern. "Bella, stay still," he urged, his voice low and soothing. "You're still recovering." Recovering? Recovering from what? Bella's mind was foggy, but she remembered the pain, the unbearable pain. And then there was Renesmee. "Renesmee," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Edward's face lit up with a smile. "She's perfect, Bella. Absolutely perfect." Bella's eyes scanned the room and she spotted Rosalie holding a small swaddled bundle. "Renesmee, their daughter." "Let me see her," Bella pleaded, her voice growing stronger. Rosalie hesitated for a moment before gently placing Renesmee in Bella's weak arms. Renesmee's tiny features were a mix of Edward's and her own. "She's so beautiful," Bella stammered, her eyes welling up with tears. Edward's hand cradled the back of her head, his touch warm and reassuring. "She is, isn't she?" As Bella gazed at Renesmee, she felt an overwhelming sensation, like her heart was expanding, making room for this new little person. It was a feeling she had never experienced before, a mix of love, wonder, and exhaustion. Edward's hand cradled the back of her head, his touch warm and reassuring. "She is, isn't she?" "Jacob," Edward called out, his voice soft. "You can come in now." Jacob's hesitant face appeared in the doorway, his eyes fixed on Renesmee. "Is it safe?" he asked, his voice laced with concern. Edward nodded. "Yes, Jacob. It's safe." Jacob approached Bella's bedside, his eyes locked on Renesmee. She's really something, isn't she?" As the four of them sat in silence, surrounded by the quiet of the room, Bella felt a sense of peace wash over her. This was it, she thought. This was the beginning of a new life, one filled with love, challenges, and uncertainty. Maternal instincts. The soft glow of dawn crept through the windows of the Cullen household, casting a serene light over the peaceful face of Renesmee, who lay sleeping in her small bed. Bella watched over her, the love in her eyes as deep and vast as the ocean. She had fought through pain and fear to be here, to be a mother to this extraordinary child. "Mama?" Renesmee's voice was a gentle whisper, her eyes fluttering open to meet Bella's. "I'm here, my love," Bella replied, her voice a soothing melody. "Did you sleep well?" Renesmee nodded, her tiny hand reaching out to touch Bella's cheek. In an instant, a rush of images and emotions flooded Bella's mind. Renesmee's dreams filled with laughter and the faces of her family. It was their special connection, a bond that went beyond words. Edward entered the room, his smile reflecting the joy in Bella's heart. "Good morning, my two favorite girls." Bella's gaze shifted to her husband, her partner in this incredible journey. "Good morning, she's just woken up." Edward leaned down, planting a soft kiss on Renesmee's forehead. Her unique nature unfolds more with each passing day. As the family shared this quiet moment, a knock on the door broke the tranquility. Jacob stood there, his expression a mix of concern and loyalty. "Hey, Bella, we need to talk," he said, his voice low but urgent. Bella's protective instincts flared, her eyes narrowing as she assessed Jacob's demeanor. "Is it the Volturi?" she asked, her voice steady despite the fear that crept into her heart. "Not yet," Jacob reassured her. "But we've got to be ready. They could come at any time." Bella nodded, her resolve hardening. "We'll be ready. Renesmee is safe with us." Jacob's gaze softened as he looked at Renesmee, his eyes reflecting the depth of his emotions. "She's growing so fast, Bella. It's both amazing and terrifying." Bella understood the unspoken words. Renesmee was not just a child. She was a symbol of hope and a potential catalyst for change in the vampire world. "She is," Bella agreed, "and will guide her through every step." Jacob nodded, his eyes lingering on Renesmee for a moment longer before he turned to leave. "I'll be outside with the others, keeping watch." After Jacob's departure, Bella sat beside Renesmee, contemplating the future. The world outside was changing, and with it, the challenges they would face. But in this moment, with her daughter's hand in hers, Bella felt the strength of their family bond. It was a force more powerful than any threat that could come their way. As the morning light grew stronger, casting patterns on the floor, a new sound pierced the silence. A faint, distant howl. Bella's head snapped up, her senses on high alert. It was a warning, a signal that the peace of their home was about to be shattered. Edward's voice was calm but carried an edge of urgency. "It's time. They're here." Bella stood, Renesmee cradled in her arms as they prepared to face whatever was coming. With Edward by her side and her family united, they were ready too. The gathering storm. The Cullens' living room, a cozy sanctuary of comfort with its plush gray sofa and matching love seat, became the unlikely war room as Bella, Edward, and their allies convened. The circle of grave faces included Jacob, Tanya, the Romanians, and Tia, all united in their concern over the Volturi's impending threat. The room, bathed in natural light, felt smaller under the weight of their task. Edward broke the silence, his voice echoing against the walls adorned with family portraits. The Volturi's power is not to be underestimated. Their army, a legion of guards and witnesses, is a testament to their millennia of dominion over our kind. They are the self-appointed enforcers of our laws, ruthless in their judgment and swift in their punishment. Tanya stood, her stance as firm as her resolve. The Volturi have overstepped, and it's time they are revealed for the tyrants they are. We must expose their true nature to the world. Bella, her gaze flitting from face to face, felt the enormity of their situation. The Volturi, with their ability to sense and exploit the gifts of others, would be relentless. Yet she harbored a secret weapon. "I can help," she murmured, her voice a soft but fierce declaration. "My shielding ability, it's more than just a defense. It's a barrier against their psychic attacks, a safeguard for our minds and hearts. It's grown stronger since my transformation, and now I can extend it to envelop those I love, shielding them from the vulture's reach. It's our hope, our ace in the hole against their ancient might. Edward rose to his feet, his expression a blend of admiration and worry. We must test the limits of the shield, Bella. Our survival may depend on it. His voice, usually so composed, betrayed a hint of urgency. The group dispersed, each lost in their own thoughts, but united by a common goal. As Bella stepped into the backyard, the soft rustle of leaves underfoot and the distant sound of the river were her only companions. She closed her eyes, focusing on the energy within, visualizing the protective dome she would cast around her loved ones. With each breath, she felt the power surge, ready to be unleashed. In the quiet of the Cullen home, preparations began. Strategies were formed, alliances strengthened, and resolve hardened. They would stand together against the storm with Bella's newfound strength as their shield. The battle was coming, and they would meet it head-on.